The nature of adventure for the Bad Batch might be all about side quests in the A-Team style missions, like we mentioned before, but the sneaky impact that the group of characters has had on Star Wars more broadly is profound. They might not be the biggest deal for Star Wars canon, but the return of the Bad Batch could be a sign that the franchise will continue to take care of all corners of the galaxy, shedding light on events that previously only existed in the shadows, explaining it in extreme detail. Now, what's really interesting about this, obviously the concern of bringing Omega into live action, but the continuation of these characters and what the story of the Bad Batch actually sets up for the future of Star Wars content. Let's not forget, we spent 3 seasons of animated Star Wars television focusing on these characters, focusing on the story of Project Necromancer and Palpatine's contingency plan and Mount Tantiss. That was not all for nothing. This book that's going to obviously show the next adventure for the Bad Batch crew in that time period in season 2 will not just be there just for fun. It will give more information to Omega, to all these other characters, for when hopefully they make their live-action debut in Ahsoka Season 2 or the Mandalorian Grogu movie or something along those lines. So was there a plot hole being filled? No, not really. The title of that article was a little different, but it does prove its point. It does prove the point that Omega is likely to come to live action at some point. Her connection to being the only other unaltered clone of Jango Fett, and Boba Fett, of course, is already involved in this Mandoverse time period. She has the connection to Hera Syndulla. She's been connected to all these different characters that exist in live action in the Mandoverse. So she could play a big role in that. But what the Bad Batch also set up is Project Necromancer, which is also a connection to the Mandoverse, because we hear Project Necromancer get mentioned in Mando Season 3, but also Mount Tantiss. Somebody brought this up. I believe it was UV Clips. Let me see. Somebody brought this up in the Discord. If you guys are not yet in the Discord, there's a link in the description below to a Discord called The People Who Love Star Wars. Go join it immediately. But Mount Tantiss might be far more important than we could ever imagine in the upcoming Heir to the Empire trilogy or upcoming Heir to the Empire movies with Grand Admiral Thrawn and his Heir to the Empire. There's a reason we got 3 seasons of the Bad Batch, and it wasn't just to set up Omega. It wasn't just to show us this cool Clone Force 99. It was to set up Mount Tantiss, to set up Palpatine's contingency plan, to explain somehow Palpatine returned. But it also gives us the opportunity to see Legends become canon yet again, where Mount Tantiss is very relevant in the Legends Heir to the Empire story. Grand Admiral Thrawn goes to Mount Tantiss, finds Jorah Sabaoth. I don't think Jorah Sabaoth will be there, but even still, he finds Jorah Sabaoth, uses Mount Tantiss' cloning facility, gets Luke Skywalker, all that fun stuff. That all happens in Legends. Now you can bring those aspects of Legends into canon. In live action, in the Mandoverse, because it was established in 3 seasons of the Bad Batch. But having said that, UV Clips brings up a great point in the Discord as he said this. I wonder if Thrawn will go to Mount Tantiss for 2 reasons in the Mandoverse. One, because they give him a base of operations. He doesn't really have that on Dathomir. Mount Tantiss would be an already established base that's still intact. The Bad Batch Season 3, it's still intact. Maybe it would be a little overgrown, but it would be a base of operations, which is a great point. And he could clone his dead night troopers using whatever tech is still salvageable there. Maybe not clone the dead night troopers, but maybe clone something. I don't know. And 2, the Zillo Beast. As far as we know, it's still alive and roaming on Wayland. Wayland is the planet. Mount Tantiss is the mountain. So, Wayland. But still roaming around the planet, which means Thrawn might want to get himself a Zillo Beast. The Zillo Beast was established in the Clone Wars, which would be awesome, because it's been continued to Palpatine's cloning efforts, because they kill the first Zillo Beast and they want him cloned. And that clone is the one that's sort of roaming around on Wayland, which would be awesome. Yeah. Since we know that ancient Dathomires, according to Danny Trejo from the Book of Boba Fett, used to ride the Rancors, and they used to ride the holy crap, what are they called? Purgle. Jesus Christ, my brain is broken. They used to ride the Purgle as well. He used to ride the Rancors and the Purgle, so he figures they can ride the Zillo Beast as well. That'd be pretty wild. Some Night Sisters riding a Zillo Beast in live action. How insane would that be? And not only that, you can now get the Zillo Beast versus the Mythazar.
This is where the fun begins.
So now you're talking about the Bad Batch 3 seasons, which seems so irrelevant to anything else going on in the Star Wars timeline, setting up Mount Tantiss, the Zillo Beast, this whole cast of Omega and the Bad Batch themselves to set up in the Mandoverse. Grand Admiral Thrawn going to Mount Tantiss to use the cloning efforts that were given there, maybe even cloning himself, some Luke Skywalker or something like that, but also taking the Zillo Beast to ride on, or for the Night Sisters to ride on, to combat the Mythazar that Bo-Katan, Grogu, Din Djarin, Boba Fett, whoever, are going to be riding on themselves. Now you're talking about possibly the greatest trilogy of all time! If they do this correctly. If they can really come to an endgame event in the third Mandoverse movie, where there's this huge battle between the heir to the Empire versus the New Republic, with all of our favorite heroes from Din Djarin, Grogu, Bo-Katan, Boba Fett, Cobb Vanth, Luke Skywalker, Leia, Han, everybody. With a Mythazar versus Thrawn, the Night Sisters, maybe Jodna Nawud, maybe whoever else wants to be a bad guy. Those people and a Zillo Beast. It'd be incredible. Oh, it's a great theory, and I absolutely love it. There's a reason that the Bad Batch was made. There's a reason. And it's not just Omega. It's all the other stuff that was going on too. The Mount Tantiss of it all is so important.